Hey guys, welcome back to another Cultured Boys discussion. I'm Pepe and I'm joined by Nathan. And this week we're carrying on the series of watching the newer One Piece films. We've watched Strong World, we've watched Zed, and this time we're watching One Piece Film Gold.
Woo!
Yeah, how you doing, Nathan?
I'm doing good. I feel like a million baddies.
Oh yes, that's relevant because that's that's what a sword does. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, just for anyone that hasn't listened to our previous episodes on these, I've watched all of the modern One Piece films before, but Nathan hasn't.
Yes.
So right now we're going through all of them, and we're kind of like at the halfway point, if you will. We've
Pretty much.
This is our third episode on it. We've got 2 more to go after this.
Yep.
But yeah, Film Gold.
It's good stuff.
It's good, yeah. Nathan, before we get into Film Gold, should we do a little breakdown of what this is?
Sure. One Piece Film Gold. Screenplay by Tsutomu Koriwa. Animated by Toei Animation. Released July 23rd, 2016. Runtime of 120 minutes. Luffy and his pirates can't wait to board the glittering Sin City ship known as Gran Tesoro, but they soon find themselves in way over their heads. Thank you, IMDb.
Yes. It's better than the One Piece film said. Right, okay. Little bit of backstory for me about this one.
Mhm.
Funny enough, this is out of the 5 films we're watching, this is actually the last one I saw, like first time. So I watched
Interesting.
because it was never really available to me like until way further down the line. So I
Fair.
watched Strong World, Zed, Stampede, and then Red. But I never actually watched Gold until after Red because, like, for some reason it released on like Blu-ray like a lot later,
Mm.
and I've just never really had the time to go find it. So yeah, this is obviously my second rewatch of this film. And also before we started watching all these One Piece movies, this is the one I always held as like this was my least favorite one out of all of them.
Interesting.
So it was really interesting going back and rewatching this from my perspective as well.
Okay.
Yeah, how was your watch through of Film Gold, Nathan?
I feel like I'm in the complete antithesis at the moment based off what you just said. I really like this. I thought this was quite a fun film.
See, this is what I mean. I actually thought this is the worst one. Then, having watched the 3 so far, this has been my favorite one.
Yeah. Same,
Like,
actually.
the rewatch like literally gave me like, oh crap, like I'm a 180 on this film now. I thought this is actually surprisingly good. I was quite surprised at how well this
right.
this was done. Like,
Again, it's like we said in the previous episode, self-contained story, so you don't have to think about it afterwards. But I like the whole vibe of this, like it's a heist movie. It's still One Piece because, there's still like some dude who's a shithead and is causing so much pain and suffering to other people. And
yeah,
Luffy's like Luffy and crew are slowly uncovering all of that. But like it's just fun. It's just kind of cool to see them do, because normally the Straw Hats are like, right, we're gonna split up, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and then we'll fight separately and then we'll all come together. But this was cool because it was like, yes, we're gonna split up, but it's in the context of a heist movie.
yeah. It felt very like Persona themes at times. Like
Literally
there's a lot
does,
of like,
right?
oh, planning. Yeah, you gotta do this. Gotta make sure I get to the vault.
Exactly. We got to steal his treasure. But like
Yeah.
it was also because like, I like these kind of ones, especially in One Piece sometimes, where like it feels like it gets quite serious a lot in One Piece. Obviously because you'll run across a character that's like ends up bumping into Luffy or something, and then they're like, please help us, Luffy. And he's like, you normally get that shot, where Luffy's like, I got this. Don't
Yeah.
worry. But like the build up to that is cool because it's like, again, they're planning a heist. They get the stakes for them are important as well because, like, they go in there thinking, oh, it's just casino town, it's gonna be awesome, and then it's like, no, turns out he's a dick, and
Yeah.
he's laced them all with gold, and his power is pretty fucking cool. It's a cool way to use that devil fruit, I will say.
Yeah, he's like maximized it completely. Even like again, establishing at the top of this episode, there will be spoilers about this
Oh
film.
yes,
But obviously with this, Tesoro's awakened his devil fruit. They even say it like he's awakened his power, and he, like you said, he's using it to his maximum ability. The fact that
right.
there's like it's raining gold, like literally,
But you don't even know because it's particles of gold just floating in the air as you come in.
Yeah. It's like they set up so well with his power, and then it goes in, and then like I want to say this straight off the bat that Tesoro as a villain, I think is my favorite villain out of these One Piece movies like so far, and possibly like because I know what's coming up next, could technically be my favorite One Piece movie villain out of all these films. Like he kind of like gives off like he's obviously evil villain. He's got money. He's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is like his whole motivation about money comes from his backstory, and it checks out. And like he feels like a grandiose villain. He's got the power to do like manipulate gold and like make pretty much like everyone's in the palm of his hand in this city. And the ways he established that, and like the way he's got this freaking ship on lock, this casino ship, like which is massive. Everything he's got is like locked to the T, and it's such a massive hurdle for the Straw Hats to conquer, especially with freaking Zoro's like locked up for the whole movie pretty much. They have to save Zoro, which is like it's a cool thing to see Zoro in that like position at this point, like
especially at that point in the One Piece story where you're like, oh, the monster trio now it's like post time skip, they're even stronger, and you're like, Zoro like normally will kick ass, but you've just taken out one of the strongest pieces of the Straw Hats.
Yeah. It's a huge point for this. A great motivation for obviously Luffy and them, because obviously they want to save one of their crew. It always comes down to that kind of thing. It was quite similar in Strong World. Oh, we've got to save our crew member and stuff. So a little bit of that in there as well. And again, much like previous Film Z, you got a couple cameos in this.
Yes, and this is what I was talking about in the previous episode. This is where it got so egregious to me. Why? Besides to just have them, Sabo's in it, Koala's in it,
yeah,
Lucci's in it,
yeah,
Spandam is in it,
yeah.
But just for the sake of having them, what Akainu's in it, just to have him. I just thought, what?
It's so funny as well, because like this is where this movie takes point is after Dressrosa. So
yeah,
so obviously
they
established
name
like
at the beginning.
Yeah,
Doflamingo, because he's like Tesoro's like, oh yeah, they're VIPs. They saved me the trouble of dealing with Doflamingo, and you're like,
yeah,
my man,
so
you can't complain about Doflamingo so much when you also has got this feather boa thing going on. Like, you like aping his style, bro.
It's because they're two of the same people. Basically, it's like, oh, god damn it. Yeah, because I heard someone say that this whole film is basically like, oh, it's basically Dressrosa in some way. Like, you got a whole place which is in captivity. You got a villain who is again like over the top and kind of like maniac in some ways. So it kind of just takes that and just fits in. There's an escape thing with like
it is Dressrosa like 2 essentially, or Dressrosa the movie, but in some other ways I'm just like, no, but I can't explain why I would say no. I feel like just to be contrarian.
It hits on a lot of similar themes with it. Yeah. This is one thing. So it's like it obviously what they're going for at this point in time, so 2016, it's like, okay, cool, what can we do for like what can we do to make this film as big as it is? Like, obviously the scene of One Piece is changing quite a bit. We've done the marine stuff in the last movie. Let's touch on similar themes of what we got going on right now.
It's copying the homework and changing it.
Yeah, it's like and I feel like some of the villains like powers in this are quite interesting as well. Like you've got that guy that can like move through walls and stuff like that, which I feel like is a power some way, but I think it's just similar to someone like Bruno's power in CP9.
Yeah.
You know, where he had the door fruit, so it's like, oh, okay, cool, like go through places. It feels very similar.
It's similar, but it's different enough because he can just directly like whoop, you know,
Yeah,
he just like
so
slips through.
Yeah, he
I thought,
just can't
what's her
go
face?
through people.
The luck
I
fruit.
can't remember what her name. The luck fruit was a really interesting concept. I thought like that's a
her name is a fucking card game.
Baccarat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you go. Her devil fruit was cool. Like to just straight up move or steal or remove luck.
Like, yeah,
That-
exactly.
Especially in a casino setting, that's a really overpowered fruit to have in that kind
It
of
really is. Yeah. There's like even like how she got defeated as well was quite an interesting concept because I was like, how the frick do you defeat this woman? And obviously it's Usopp bullshit. So like fires a slot machine and she just happens to like lose her luck from that one. It's kind of a little bit bullshit, but at the same time, this is a One Piece film, so I'm
it
not
definitely is very Deus Ex Machina. Like, oh, we just need a really crazy thing because she says, "I'm gonna defeat you with just a coin."
Yeah, and it's she has a sword. She turns up with a sword and is like, "I don't need this sword," and I just throws it away instantly.
I mean, is that not the theme of like Tesoro's crew though? Like, what about that fucking the other guy, the one that's just like the masochist? And he's like when you first see him, and he's like breaking these cups with his head, and he's got an axe, and even Brooke and the crew are like, "What was the point of the axe?"
Yeah. It's I tell you what, like the theme running through it with those three crew members is a theme of overconfidence as well.
Oh yeah,
because obviously like there's that teleporting guy when he's facing Sanji and Robin is like, oh, he's just not hitting us with his bullets on purpose. It's like, yeah, well, I've got to keep the show going. So it's like he's firing this gun just to like kind of throw him off a little bit. Which is again,
I mean, it makes sense that they'd be overconfident though. Like when you're in the know and you're like, my boss has literally got his powers. He's got literal fingers everywhere. He's got the ability to control this whole fucking place.
Yeah,
he's got this lockdown. You would totally be like, yeah, what do I need to do? I just got to distract until boss comes and fucks him up.
There's constant points in this movie where you're like, how are the Straw Hats actually gonna get out of this? Because like, there's that point where like, obviously Zoro's like locked up or whatever in his little gold crucifix. Then there's like Luffy and Frankie who are like trying to make their way down to the that pump station bit.
That part I didn't understand, especially when they're like, the only way to get rid of his gold is the seawater, and I'm like, and Luffy's like, I'm gonna do it. I won't give up. I'm like, did you forget the most important, most common knowledge thing about devil fruits, Luffy?
Yeah.
Brother, you can help them, but you're going to be powerless.
It is also Luffy being Luffy. So I mean, that's the one thing when you talk about Luffy bullshit. It's just like, checks out. You just do whatever.
I mean, it is Luffy being Luffy, but you know when you're just like, he's like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I'm like, okay, I get it, Luffy, but like, seriously? Devil fruit user. Seawater. Bad.
It's there is that, but and obviously they say, "Oh yeah, we couldn't tell Luffy the plan because he would ruin it." It
Yeah.
just, I think that's what also goes along with the figure. It's like, okay, yeah, so we're basically Luffy in this situation. We don't know either. It's all playing along. Also, though, this I know, like obviously Frankie's in the know. That's why they sent him down with Luffy. But then you have all those prisoners that got thrown into the depths, which are like, yeah, we're gonna jump into this fan. To do like
Yeah.
they weren't in on the plan.
No.
What was Frankie and Luffy's plan when they got down? What was Frankie gonna do? Like,
Frankie was gonna stand there and pose. Super.
yeah.
I don't know what their plan was. Also, let's face it, that whole section as well is anime bullshit. A bunch of people jumped down into a giant fan. One did not get shredded or mulched.
No.
And two, what was his fucking face? Johnny or whatever.
Was it Max?
Yeah,
Max
there
something.
you go. Max.
Max. Yeah.
Max fucking jumps in and uses his fingernails to stop himself from falling on what is, I'm assuming, steel.
Yep.
And then him and like 20 guys managed to stop a giant fan that Luffy could not bust up with the giant chunk of gold holding his arms together.
Yeah. It's
anime bullshit. It's definitely happening.
It is a lot. Like, also, my favorite thing about it was that they've established this Max character, as like, oh, he's part of the Revolution Army, and like he's like known as one of the best gamblers or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's just a guy that we're. Like, he didn't really do much. One, obviously, he did stop the fan, or like he has that motivation there. But like, it's a random as fuck dude, and like, we know we're never gonna see him again because this movie isn't canon. And like,
also, he was introduced just before that, literally just before the fan. We haven't seen him the whole film. Not a single word about this man.
Yeah.
And then this random dude turns up. I thought maybe he was one of the racers from earlier in the movie.
I could see that, the first guy that
right?
limited. Yeah.
But he's not. And then Frankie just randomly comes out and he's like, "Are you the best gambler ever? I was a big fan as a kid." And you're like, what? Where the
you never mentioned this guy before. He got like, he's got to be famous somehow, and it's like, but when you were talking about connections as well, I also thought that he might have been. You know, there's that kid at the start that's trying to sell roses.
Yeah, I think you're led to believe that they're related.
Because they have the same hair.
Because and also at the end of the film, the kid is like on his back or whatever.
Oh,
so I think that's his dad. That's why
it's never really mentioned at all.
No, it's never explicitly said. It's only through sort of context. Because there's also that scene after they break out when Max is on the street and then the kid looks over and Max is looking at him and they're, like, there's that kind of like, there's like a smile or a smirk or something.
Yeah.
I think he's his dad and that's why the kid is stuck there working that whole time because Max lost.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're led to believe.
It's just mad that it's not spoken about.
Also, why was it made a big deal? When the kid is at the steak restaurant where Luffy and them are eating, and then like the big boss comes out to beg for forgiveness, and they're like, "He's a former soldier," and then does nothing. Why even say he was a former soldier? Then? Like, I don't,
because that's one thing. Like, one of the lines that one of the thugs says to him is like, "Give us a smile, then," because that's what. I believe that's like kind of because what Tesoro has been told, like from like the from his past and stuff like that, and obviously he passed it down from person to person probably, and that's like basically Tesoro's crew's mentality, basically, which is just like, oh, give us a smile then or something like that. But you're right, like the big boss doesn't really contribute much. It felt like a big moment, and he was going to get like a backstory or something. He's got this picture of his wife and kids in this locket, but
it's also because
never really built.
Thug beats him up and he's like, "Oh yeah, you think you're special just because you're some important former soldier or something,
Yeah, it
and then nothing
kind
happens
of
after.
felt like
Like
nothing
he
does
just
happen
doesn't.
with it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like my problem with this is that again, this is a similar thing that I had to with film Z is that this film kind of felt drawn out at moments, especially with like the heist stuff was like it's funny like how they're going around it and all this kind of stuff, but some of it felt really, really played out for what it was. There was some quite funny jokes. I did like the Brooke moment where they're walking through the thing and like he gets caught by these owls and he's
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
ah, he starts screaming and then they're like, yeah, it's because you're dead, you numbskull. He's like, that's so rude. But like, yeah, certain points of that I feel like could have been cut down a little bit. This is like a 2 hour film as well,
Mm.
and obviously the last big moment where you see Luffy versus Tesoro is such a like huge moment because you're getting like this freaking giant giant
Where
golden mech of himself, which is just like
Tesoro looks like a fucking stand.
yeah. Yeah, it could be like an enemy from Evangelion.
Oh, that too. Oh, it really doesn't help because Tesoro's move names end with Dio, and the whole time I couldn't unsee it like as stands.
He's just screaming out, "Reh! Reh!" That'd be jokes if he actually did that.
Zargordo.
But I feel like the thing that really does carry this movie is Tesoro as a villain as well. I think he's the best movie villain so far in this. The story is again, the setting makes sense. Like the whole like the whole that Tesoro has on this whole like this pirate ship that he has, like he's set up so well. He's done like everything he needs to. Everyone's in the palm of his hand. That is the best part of this movie is the setup of it and like all the stuff that comes through. I feel like for me the battles in film Z were a bit. I did prefer the battles more in that one compared to
To
this
be fair,
one.
though, we don't really see anything super crazy until pretty much the end.
Yeah, it's a lot of like get into the play. This is the one thing of it. When you're looking at One Piece, sometimes you do just want to see some of the fights and stuff like that. And this time, it's a lot of the setup to hey, we need to bring him down, which is like again an interesting concept. Like it's a cool concept, but I feel like that's the bit for me that got drawn out a little bit. Like the setup's fine with them like enjoying the city, but realizing it isn't all what it seems. And then obviously the betrayal because then he turns up and then it turns out they've been bamboozled. I think that bit's. I think it's just. I think it is the heist bit, which in my opinion did feel a little bit long. I liked it, but I feel like it just needed to be cut down a little bit more.
I think it's because in some of the heist sections, and it was mostly Luffy and Frankie, where they were creating lots of unnecessary parts that are like, ooh, tension. Like the suction cups when they're climbing.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, it's slipping. Oh my God. But I still made it because of Luffy Rubberman. And you're just kind of like, okay, didn't need it.
Yeah.
It really didn't need that.
Yeah,
bit.
just certain bits of it just felt a bit too long for me. But again, like I actually preferred this a lot more compared to the last two, especially in our recent rewatches and stuff like that. This is the thing that really surprised me at how much I did actually like it. Is that I fully expected not to enjoy this as much because I've always said it's the worst one for me. But nah, it was it was a good watch. Like it could obviously not perfect or whatever, but yeah, like out of the ones we've seen so far, checks out. Like.
It's a very enjoyable watch. The only major complaint I have is why did Toei not make new sound effects? They're using old Dragon Ball sound effects. There were times I was like, even there's times where like my brain turned off and all of a sudden I clicked back in because I hear like the Super Saiyan power up or the Dragon Ball power up or any Dragon Ball sound effect. And obviously being the huge Dragon Ball fan, these sounds are super iconic to me. and my brain
Yeah.
just immediately was like, "The fuck was that?"
Okay, so I have a theory about this, right? Is the fact that this film, for me, again, this never really got bigged up in the West at all. Like this,
Mm,
again, the Blu-ray for this didn't come out until years later. Like, it didn't get like a cinema release like we saw with Stampede and Film Red. Like, so it felt like really weird. And this is 2016 as well. Bear in mind, where Dragon Ball Super is actually still going on. One Piece obviously still going on as well. And in this point as well, Toei isn't doing its best at animation either. And I feel like I don't know whether like what the budget is compared for like the rest of the films or whatever. But part of me feels that they have this bank of sound effects they've already got from Dragon Ball Super, which is airing at the time, and probably reuse some of them, like you said. And this is the point as well where like One Piece's pacing was notoriously bad at the time. This was like probably during Dressrosa or like was it a Zoe as well, like just before Whole Cake, and the pacing is like notoriously bad for the anime at this point.
mm.
So I'm thinking that like 2016 was not Toei's golden era. I'm also ironic phrasing that I've used there. But there's a lot of things there which I feel like it probably wasn't their best work around that, maybe in terms of sound effects. That's
Maybe
a guess. That's like I feel
I
like
don't
it could be
know.
connected, maybe.
It was just very strange and distracting to me.
Yeah.
As and it's again as a Dragon Ball fan, it's jarring because it's just
Hmm.
kind of like that's not One Piece. One
Yeah.
Piece should One Piece would probably have its own bank of sound effects, no? But no, Luffy
Mm.
literally like goes gear second, and it's the Dragon Ball transformation sound. You know, like activating ki. You know,
I
like
never actually noticed that. Yeah.
yeah, like it's literally like when any of the characters in Dragon Ball are about to fly, so they
Yeah.
activate their ki. It was that sound.
Yeah.
Then at one point it was like some lightning. I think thunder because of Nami or something.
Hmm.
Um, and it was it was like the Super Saiyan 2 like energy crackle sound.
Right.
Like there were just little instances that I'm like, this is this is just Dragon Ball stuff. This is just Dragon Ball sound effects. That
Yeah.
it's just it's probably just me or it might not be, but like it really brought me out of all of these moments because I'm just like,
Yeah.
God damn it. You couldn't
I never really noticed it
couldn't
really.
get new sound effects. Also, to your point, I didn't mention it earlier, but
Mm.
Film Gold is the first One Piece film I actually remember seeing advertised online.
Really? Okay.
I'd never heard of Strong World. I'd never heard of Zed before.
Right. Okay.
Gold, around that time, I was seeing
Hmm.
ads all over the internet, at least in the spaces that I was in. And like I remember seeing this thing advertised, but 2016 I wasn't at that point of One Piece. I was probably still making my way through the manga, so I was probably too early on to pay
Mm.
attention.
Tesoro was featured in a couple games that released over here. It was like Burning Blood. He was a character in that, playable. And he was
Mm.
also in. I think I mentioned this in might have been Strongworld. In that was it the Butoden style
Mm.
game for the 3DS. He was playable in that.
I want. I
So
would want
like
Tesoro in a Pirate Warriors. I think he'd be perfect in a Pirate
that's
Warriors.
that's the one thing. When you look at all the, I think we talked about this in the previous episode as well. Like of all the movie characters, Tesoro is like you can sell like his awakening where he just turns
Mm.
massive. Like could be an easy like put in for Pirate
Oh
Warriors 4,
yeah,
especially when you got giant enemies and stuff like that. Like the gold powers would work so well.
right.
Like
You
and
literally he just
yeah.
sends out rings or something. That's his
Hmm.
general attack. Like you can imagine a whole moveset
Yeah,
for it.
it works really well for it. Like
It
it would,
I think
like
he'd be
even
awesome.
capturing enemies as well. Like just
Yeah.
like the binding and stuff like that. It'd
I mean that could
work.
just be your grabs and the stuff, like
Yeah, it for a move set, it probably is one of the easiest ones to make for a Pirate Warriors game. Um, but yeah, again, I don't really see much about Film Gold. Really, like Pete obviously as times moved on, obviously we're still hearing about Shiki. We're still like we don't
Yeah,
really hear anything about Zephyr, like because Tesoro is one of those characters now. Again, isolated. He's not gonna be back in the
yeah.
series at all. They won't ever reference him again. Um, but like, yeah, for a standalone movie, for what he like, he serves the purpose as a great villain. So, um, yeah, so far so good though. Like
I
I've really enjoyed.
I only just realized now that you brought that up that like, funny enough, I don't think people really talk about One Piece films much, just in general.
Mm, no.
Like,
Um.
like some maybe it's just the circles I go in, right? But
Mhm.
like people talk about anime films. Like you'll hear about Demon Slayer, JJK,
Yes. Yeah.
Dragon Ball movies, like or the whole gambit of it. But I don't actually think many people talk about One Piece films much.
I think it is a tough one because I feel where One Piece is at right now, the series is obviously still going on, and where these movies sit, apart from Strong World and Film Red, which both have canon characters in them,
Mm,
like realistically, these other characters really aren't. They're not really canon films, and realistically, Demon Slayer, obviously being the huge hit is right now, time
yeah.
of recording, Infinity Castle is basically part of the series, and I think the way the series is moving from now on, I think they're just gonna be movies. I don't think the series is still coming out. I think they're just gonna focus on these things.
Maybe it's because these characters, the self-contained ones, like Zed and Tesoro. Maybe it's just that they're not mention much in other media from One Piece. Because like I'm thinking like
No.
in Dragon Ball, like you think about like Cooler, Broly,
Yes. Yeah.
Lord Slug, like the movie characters are talked about a lot. But I think that's because the movie characters appear in games a lot and other media.
Yes,
So like they're
definitely.
on the brain more, you know what I mean? Like I just
It's
don't
a tough
think
one
people think
because
about the movie characters as much in One Piece.
I'd say the One Piece movie characters are quite similar to your early day Dragon Ball movie characters, like you said, like the Cooler and Broly at the time.
Mm,
They'd make their appearances here or there, but realistically, you're going to prioritize a lot of the more canon ones within the series. Like in the One Piece card game, they like there is like movie packs and stuff like that, and like they make reference to those characters quite like often. Um, but yeah, like you'll probably get some in mobile games and that. But you're right.
yeah.
I think right now the movie landscape is very primarily focusing on we're just going to create content from the series itself rather than creating an original story.
Mm,
So like that's the one thing like what you're seeing with like I mean arguably Dragon Ball is a bit of an outlier because that like it's a bit different how it's gone on like
yeah.
with the series in terms of like superhero and with Broly and all those movies. Whereas what you're seeing right now with arguably JJK, Demon Slayer, and Chainsaw Man is that the movies that have come out have been from the actual source material itself.
Mm,
Especially Attack on Titan is another example of that. All of
yeah.
those parts are from the original series, and arguably One Piece can't do that. Like you've got the series going week to
No.
week, and that's what it's established. So
Also, with something like One Piece, you can't really have a movie that ends up being part of the canon because, like, I feel like something like One Piece is so much bigger that
mhm.
to separate the fan base, like, oh, you have to go watch this movie because that's where the canon event is, versus like, oh, just read the manga. Like, I feel like One Piece is one of those where you're like, more people will be pissed about that than you would
Mhm.
think.
I think the closest thing you could ever get to it, right, is by like if they didn't do God Valley in where this is currently sat right now, like the God Valley instant
Mm,
flashback. The only way I would have probably could have seen it is maybe the God Valley flashback was its own movie itself, not in the manga, but it was actually established like there, like a kind of prequel series, kind of like JJK Zero, is the only thing I could have think would have worked for it. Um, in terms of canon
maybe,
stuff, that's
but
the
I
only
still
way
would
I
be
think I
pissed
could
about
see it
that
work.
because
Yeah.
I'm. I don't need to reiterate too much. I've always been on record
Yeah.
that I don't like when you have to separate the fandom like that.
Yeah. No,
When
agree.
for myself, I I read the manga. I only read the manga for One Piece, pretty much.
Hmm.
So I want
Yeah.
all the important information, towards the story. I want to be in the manga. Like,
Hmm.
so if it's been in the manga, you make it a movie, whatever. But like to
Hmm.
put it as a movie and it's never gonna appear in the manga, someone like me
Hmm.
who doesn't watch these films as they come out, I might not watch them
Hmm.
at all, or I might not watch them for like a decade. That's a lot of context to be missing for that much time just because you chose to make more money. Do you know what I mean?
That's yeah. I think that's the way that like the anime movie industry is going right now. Obviously, I don't know whether like I don't know whether Chainsaw Man is going to animate all the stuff that goes down in the latest movie. They might. I mean, because this is one thing with Mugen Train, they did literally just
Yeah.
separate those. They're like, oh, look, you can watch the movie or you can watch the series. I don't have a clear answer on what I prefer of it because obviously the series is getting more eyes on it if it's a movie and it does feel like a spectacle. But yeah, for something like One Piece though, I think the way they're doing it right now is fine. Like you can choose to watch those movies if you want to. Some of them are like more canon than others, but that's only because of the characters rather than the story.
Yeah.
So it feels optional with that, and I think it's onto a good thing like that for like the biggest series, for
Mm.
the biggest manga series in the world. So uh again, I don't know when the next movie after Film Red is dropping as well. This can be a conversation a bit further down the line. But
What color do
yeah.
you think it'll be next?
I got fucking trolled at one point because someone sent me a fake trailer for One Piece Film Black, and it turned out to be what it turned out to be was a fake trailer, and it was the fake Luffy that's at the start of post time skip. You know when they go
Yeah.
to the Shabaodia
Yeah,
archipelago,
yeah.
and then there's that fake crew, and his name is like something black. I can't remember like what his name is. And it's
Yeah.
just a whole trailer animated with this fake Luffy doing the just like just running around doing iconic One Piece scenes, and I was like, for God's sake! And obviously it was on April Fool's Day as well, so I was like, God damn it!
What
So
it's just funny to think it's not even that common because it's only technically two movies so far, Red and Gold, that have done
yeah,
like a kind of color thing, right? But it's funny to think like, oh, what's the next fucking One Piece film? Like,
yeah,
oh, One Piece film
like
green.
yeah,
It's just gonna start going the Pokemon route. We've already got red.
yeah,
Next one's green, then
yeah, and
blue,
blue, yeah, yeah.
silver and gold and crystal.
I mean, you can't even like anticipate some of the titles they come up with, though. To be fair, like Stampede, Z kind of like makes even like Strongworld and Stampede are kind of more out there names for. They're not
Mm,
on the nose like the other three are.
yeah, you
um,
those ones are a little like
yeah, but yeah. I mean, closing this episode off, the next episode of Culture Boys will be on One Piece Stampede. So please do remember to check that out. Do you have any
God, that's
last words,
so
Nathan,
fucking
about Gold or?
amazed. Sorry, no, you said it, and it's literally it still gets me. Why One Piece film Strong World, One Piece film Z, One Piece film Gold, One Piece Stampede, One Piece film Red? Why?
Yeah.
God damn it!
One thing I am gonna say to you, Nathan, as well, before you jump into Stampede is you think this one had cameos. You think the last year, the Stampede is probably peak cameo. Let's put it
Oh
that
god!
way. So get ready to look forward to
Yay!
that. But yeah, any last thoughts on Gold before we wrap this up?
I think Gold is my favorite out of the three so
Hmm.
far, and I know so
Yeah.
far 3 episodes, each one so far I have been like, this is my favorite. Strong World doesn't kind of count because that was the first One Piece film I've ever watched, but
Yeah.
like this was a really really fun movie,
Hmm.
and I would highly recommend it, especially if before you're like Pepe and you thought it wasn't good. I would suggest giving it a rewatch. I think it's worth a
Mm.
rewatch, honestly.
Yeah. I completely agree. Like, just having gone back to it and like thinking so lowly of it before. Maybe it is because I like de-hyped myself, but because it's a complete opposite to Strongworld. You know what I mean? I hyped up Strongworld so much in my head, and then it was worse. But this could be the opposite. I downplayed this so much, and it actually got better. Maybe that's it. But honestly, yeah, let's hear your thoughts about Film Gold as well. We'd love to hear that.
Also, what do you think the next One Piece film will be called? Give us your
yeah.
your your guesses.
Tell us your predictions. Yeah, go on.
Please, One Piece film something. I swear to God, I can't deal with another One Piece name. God, follow the naming convention for God's sake.
This is where the episode is going to age poorly, and like by the time we release it, it's the next One Piece film is actually going to be announced. Imagine that. But yes, guys. Very on the nose and crazy. But yes, thank you for listening, guys. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button for future Cultured Boys videos. Check the links in our description. We have all of our podcast platforms down there. And we will see you guys next time for another Cultured Boys episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.